Sega challenges you with the ultimate video game. The Sega Master System, with twice as much memory
Dad?
as any other video game. Advanced video technology like scrolling backgrounds, graphics in 64 colors, digital sounds, and light phasers.
Fresh!
And you can add to the excitement with sports pads, control sticks, and the first video games ever in 3D.
Sega's the one.
The Sega Master System. The challenge will always be there.
So here it is. I'm staying true. The collection videos are coming out. I haven't stopped, unlike monthly pickups. They just, again, it's a time thing. I just don't have time for it. Basically, the only new games I will be getting is PlayStation 4 titles, and if I just so happen to get, say, another Nintendo title or Master System once this collection thing is done, once I amass 5 or so, I will put out another collection, like, update video. So, but here are the next set of Master System titles, and a good amount of them are arcade ports, and you'll see why. They are toned-down versions compared to the arcade cabinet, but you'll see what I mean in how they compare from arcade to the Master System, and I think they do really well. Hope you enjoy this video. So here is a very famous arcade port called RType. Many people don't know, but the R actually stands for ray, as in ray of light. And the weapons are types of rays that you get on your ship. And it is a side-scrolling shooter, very famous, as I said. It has several levels with a boss at the end of each level, and the bosses are amazing and very individualistic. They take up the entire screen, and the weapons that you get, your rays, you get your main gun, you get a wave cannon, and then you can either hold the button down to fire a more powerful weapon, which will go through the single-hit enemies. So, very simple game mechanics, but very effective. During the game, you obtain a device called a force, which is kind of like this glowing orange ball, in which you can attach it to the front or back of the spacecraft, and it can also detach to fly freely. It's pretty much a shield, but it provides additional, more powerful weapons to that main gun. Now, the game is pretty difficult, that's for sure, and I recommend it for any fan of a shooter, really. The weapon variety is fantastic. I prefer the music on the Master System compared to any other port. Yeah, it's just a good game, for sure. So it's our pal Oppa back, which, if you watch the previous video, is Sega's first mascot character beyond belief. I know, right? This is another shooter, and it's a cute 'em up, which means it's a cute shooter, basically. The design and main character is very similar to Twin Bee on the Nintendo. This is an extremely difficult game. It still has a side-scrolling aspect, but the level loops until you destroy all of the major enemies with your gun or bomb. There are a total of 8 stages in all, except the final one. That one, the scroll is not fixed. You can move left or right, and the final consists of a rematch against all the previous bosses. So it's a boss rush at the end, as if the game wasn't hard enough just getting through it. You can upgrade your weapons by going to a shop and using the coins you collect throughout the level to upgrade your weapons, and you get to learn how to use them more effectively. You see a lot of the things start out in this game, which were more refined in Fantasy Zone 2, but this game is much more basic and a little bit less difficult than its sequel. I actually prefer this first one because it's a lot, I don't know, there's a lot more charm. The way the backgrounds are a bit different. I like it. Oppa can go on the bottom of the screen and walk with his tiny little legs. It's adorable. I love it. Compared to RType, this one has more identity. I feel like it's more fun. The bosses are really goofy. It's just those plain backgrounds on the bosses I'm not all about, but I think that was just a limitation to the developers on the Master System, and I don't fault them for that. So similar to Outrun, An arcade port by the name of Afterburner came to the Master System. And as difficult as it is to get a handle on, this game is fantastic. The game allows you to control an F-14 Tomcat jet, and you basically just fly straight along this map through 18 total stages, if you can even get past 3 or 4 of them. It takes me a while anyways. And you just destroy everything you see to get a high score. And it was actually named after an aircraft carrier called the Sega Enterprise, so it's the same one used in the Top Gun movie in the 80s. Little fun fact. One way to play this game is the Master System's control stick, which you actually fly with your left hand and push the buttons with your right, as opposed to the other way around. It gives the game a little bit more realistic feel, quote-unquote, from the 80s, so why not? The game is still really hard, it still has its fun times and reasons to play, and it's been ported to basically everything after that, but the original Master System version, the original arcade port, I do recommend. I like it. I think it's a must-have for a Master System owner. However, I will say, if you have some sort of motion sickness to watching a screen, it might be a little bit difficult to play, or even just get used to all the flipping and turning throughout the game. Next up is an Alex Kidd game ported from the arcade game. It's called Alex Kidd The Lost Stars, and I love this game. It's a platformer in which Alex Kidd must progress to find the 12 zodiac signs, and his mission to run through each level is to obtain 6 balls. And the balls are hidden in unusual places throughout the level, such as the Fantasy Zone ship Oppa Oppa, who always seems to pop up in games, Christmas presents, pumpkins, and the like. There are not that many levels. There's a toy world, a machine world, a water world, a monster world, and once you get through all the levels, Alex ventures out into space to defeat the main boss, but then once you get all those 6 balls, you have to run through the levels again. I guess this is just a way to make the game longer, which I'm okay with, but sometimes short is a good thing. Compared to the arcade version, the Master System version has infinite lives, and if you fall through a pit or get hit, you don't lose a life, but you lose seconds off the timer because each level has a time limit. When time expires, that's when you lose your life. But it does have infinite continues, which is great to just complete the game and have a good time. One thing you'll notice, though, and what the game is famous for, is when Alex Kidd dies or gets hurt, he lets out this wild, wicked scream, and after a while, that gets really bad. This is one of my favorite games in the Master System, simply because it's that enjoyable. To other Alex Kidd games in the series, this one is much more forgiving and much more pick up and play for even the average gamer to enjoy. As a platformer, is among my favorite platformers of all time. This one even competes on the original Mario for me personally. I recommend this game for anyone who owns a Master System for sure, and if you're a platforming madman like myself, you're just going to fall in love with this game, not be able to put it down, and the fact you got to play through the game again, you'll just want to anyway. In what is arguably one of Sega's most famous franchises is Space Harrier. This fast-paced rail shooter has seen a number of releases from Sega, but this third-person perspective behind this dude with a jetpack on his back is crazy. There weren't many rail shooters at the time, so that's why this game was just so different. It even says at the beginning, "Welcome to Fantasy Zone, get ready," so it's another reference to Oppa Oppa. See a pattern here with Oppa Oppa everywhere? He's the Fantasy Zone character. The character's name is simply Harrier, and he goes through a total of 18 distinct stages. And by distinct, it ranges from ice to grass to desert, etc., etc. And the enemies on each stage are incredibly different, ranging from woolly mammoths with Cyclops eye to Chinese dragons to flying robots. It's all crazy. But the environment is in this weird geometric environment with, it almost looks like just blocks coming at you, but that was just from the time. And when you finally get to that 18th stage, you have to face, well, first of all, 15 of the 18 stages has a boss at the end. Well, at the end, you have to face the previous 7 of them up to that point, which makes beating the game incredibly difficult, hence why it was an arcade port. A fun fact is you can actually use the Master System's 3D glasses to play this game. I don't have these glasses, so I wouldn't know, but I imagine it's just a trip. There is no storyline to this game whatsoever. Therefore, when you do beat the game, as I've looked up on YouTube and the like, it just simply says, "The End." Basically, Space Harrier is a one-of-a-kind game, and it can't be missed if you're a Sega Master System owner. It is highly beloved, and for good reasons. It is a must-have. So those were some of the best arcade ports the Master System has to offer. Space Harrier is just a special kind of game. I can't recommend that one enough. It's a ton of fun, especially to kind of challenge friends with. That's kind of the mission, I guess, of the Sega Master System. Bring the arcade home, and then you can challenge your friends. Some are 2 players, some are 1 player, but that's okay, because, you know, you die so quickly, you can kind of pass it off. I hope everyone enjoyed this video of the Sega Master System collection, and there's one more coming, and I hope you enjoy it.